You think there is a big scale difference right now versus good and bad?
I don't think so.
Do not walk past here by yourself.
Honestly, I think it's gotten worse.
Recently, Davenport, Iowa sent out a survey to all of its citizens, and this is what they had to say.
That's right, Will. Now, according to the City of Davenport survey, only 47% of people who responded to that survey feel safe when downtown. And only 36% of residents say crime prevention efforts are either good or very good.
Now, that's what the citizens had to say, but how did the city respond? Well, this is what they had to say.
Statistics tell a different story than how people feel. And so the statistics would say that our downtown is safe and it's a place that you can live and you can walk around and you can enjoy yourself. And yet there's still some people who maybe they haven't been downtown in a long time, or they have different perceptions about what the downtown is. And so they have that feeling.
Now, as you can see, there's obviously a huge disconnect between what the city's saying and what the citizens are saying. But how true is it? Well, I came down here to find out. We're gonna talk to some people at the local farmers market to find out, is there a disconnect? Is it true what the survey said? Or does the city have some truth behind it as well? My guess is somewhere in between, but without talking to people, we won't know. So come along with me as we go find some locals to talk to about the crime in Davenport, Iowa. So first off, what's your guys' name?
Kat Zeglin.
Rob Zeglin.
Michael and Debbie Baldwin and Danny.
I'm Mike Sage.
My name is Genesis Reyes.
My name's Brian.
And who's this?
This is Juka.
Which city do you live in here?
I live here in Davenport.
I actually live in Moline.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
We're actually from a little town south of here called Olds. It's by Mount Pleasant.
I am from the Quad Cities. I'm over on the Illinois side. I'm from Milan.
We live in Milan.
Milan, okay, perfect. So recently, there was a survey that Davenport sent out, and they said, hey, do you feel like the Quad Cities is safe? Overall, it seemed like it was negative in that people didn't feel safe here. But then the city responded and said, actually, statistically speaking, it's safer than it ever has been. So obviously there's a disconnect there. So I'm asking people, from your perspective, do you feel safe when you come over to Davenport?
So my thoughts on that, I think overall this city is fairly unsafe. I think per capita, I think I would be safer on the streets of Chicago than I am here.
I feel safe here. I think as in any city, including ours, where there are small breakups and stuff, as long as you are cautious and you take precautions, you'll be fine.
I would say it's like a 50-50, and it unfortunately depends in what area of Davenport you're in. I have been around with my family like on the western side of Davenport, and I've seen that there's been a little bit of disconnect in safety.
I personally do feel secure. I've never had any problems, here in the Quad Cities, and I am speaking from a gay male. I mean, I feel safe walking around here.
Well, I have never been associated with any crime of any kind. I feel safe.
Okay.
But then when you go towards eastern Davenport or like near the village, it's a lot more safer. But I feel like it's because those areas are taken care of better than, like, let's say West Davenport, and those areas are kind of neglected.
The people are very nice here. Evening events that go on. I mean, I don't feel afraid going to my vehicle by myself, going to our, local bars that we go to.
Yeah.
I just feel safe. I have no problems.
Awesome.
Now, there is certain neighborhoods that are unsafe and certain that are safe, and sometimes they blend together a little bit. Yeah, but I certainly don't want to be out after midnight around here.
So, and like in Moline, it kind of happens the same way. We have different neighborhoods that are, their priority is, like, the city gives more priority towards construction projects and things like that. And then there's other parts of Moline that are just completely neglected.
I want to go.
Yeah, and like we're super close to where I live. I'm really close to the Rock Island border, and I also see those same issues in Rock Island as well.
I carry,
Yeah?
so if crime comes along, I'm ready for him.
Yep. No, that's a good thing to know. That's for sure. Is there any particular part of the city that you'd say is worse than others?
I don't think there's one worse than others. It's really block by block almost. So, like, we live on a really nice block, but 2 blocks down isn't so nice.
Now, how long have you lived here?
I lived my entire life, so all 20 years.
I have lived here in the Quad Cities for about 35 years.
Okay. Now, you were telling me before we started recording that you've been here almost 50 years, right?
Came up here in 90. No, wait a minute. 70.
Okay.
70. About 75.
Okay.
So that's about 50 years, isn't it?
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, you guys have lived down there a while. Have you visited several times or just this is the first time?
Several times. Camping in the area. We love this area to camp. This farmer's market is great. It's one of our favorites.
Absolutely. You've been here a little while.
Yes.
Has there been any changes from when you first got here versus now?
I have definitely seen an up and down. I guess like my neighborhood and specifically has seen different eras of time. It's been really unsafe. Like my mom hasn't let me go to the park or anything, and then there's been times that there's like been like gangs and things like that, and then those groups are taken out, so then the neighborhood's fine again.
Honestly, I think it's gotten worse. I really do. So we moved here about 3 or 4 years ago.
Okay.
We started living in the East Village here, and the East Village was always a super safe place to live. And then right when we lived here, there was actually a robbery in the winery.
But now, like the other day, there was like a police chase near my neighborhood, and I was like, what's going on?
Like, hold on.
So yeah, it's definitely like an up and down rather than a linear than I feel like it should be.
And I think it's gone downhill since.
So,
Not with crime. We walk and we have a dog we take everywhere and we walk her like even in the evenings and stuff, and I don't feel
really safe.
No, I feel very safe.
Okay. Awesome. So over that time period, has your perception changed when it comes to crime in the Quad Cities?
I don't think so.
Okay. In the kind of the same level field that it's always been?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, like I say, I try to avoid, like any what I would call sketchy areas. So I wouldn't put myself in those positions. But as long as I have lived here, I have never had a problem with the Quad Cities. I enjoy it very, very much.
Awesome. Now, you've heard it from the people. Obviously, everybody's having a different perspective on if it's safe, different neighborhoods. And if you're moving here, you're going to really want to figure out what neighborhood specifically fits your needs. My name is Alex. I'm a real estate agent here. I know every nook and cranny of Davenport and the Quad Cities. So give me a call. My number is popping up down below. Love to help you out or answer any questions that you might have when making the move to Davenport or the Quad Cities. When it comes to police, do you think they're doing enough, or do you not think they're doing too much?
Well, I don't know much what's going on with crime. I love the police. I think the police are doing a good job. I don't know the statistics of the crime or what they do to stop it or anything, but like I say, we haven't had any crime or anything, so I guess they're doing a good job.
Yeah, that's good. And you're out in Milan, so you're a little bit away from the core of the city. Yeah. But obviously you're coming to Davenport.
We're here all the time, and we do most of our shopping and eating out and everything in Davenport.
Okay.
Well, I mean, everyone's going to have a different opinion, and I would probably say everybody could probably do a little more than what they're doing. But again, there's too many areas to break down, what specifically needs to be done.
Yep.
Well, I mean, you could put more police out on evening patrol.
Yep.
You could have each officer have a smaller beat so that they can go around it better.
Yeah.
Tons
All
of
different things.
and yes, tons of answers.
I would say probably not enough. And if I'm being honest, they're probably taking care of issues that don't need to be taken care of and are kind of pushing those away and forgetting to see the bigger picture of
Maybe ignoring the issues that are bigger problems.
Yeah.
So do you think they're focusing on the right things? Because I've heard that from people where maybe they're getting all the petty stuff but not taking care of the bigger stuff. Do you think that's the same?
I think that's too broad.
Yeah.
I don't really think I've got an answer for that one.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And some people don't, but I've heard that from other people that we've interviewed, so I was just curious if you had the same perspective. Well, is there anything that you'd like people to know about when they're trying to make a move to the Quad Cities? Like things to watch out for or to do or not do?
Well, we have two cities here, Davenport and Rock Island, Moline and Milan, and then Davenport and Bettendorf and a few little towns around. But I'm glad that we're here on the river.
Yeah.
We used to have a 30-foot on the river and enjoy that. And so there's a lot of recreation around here, a lot of good fishing, a lot of golf courses and activities in town, parades and everything.
Oh, yeah. Plenty to do.
Yeah.
Sure. And it looks like you're a vet. I didn't ask you.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you for your service.
I was in Vietnam in 1968 during Tet.
Oh. What would you say the number one thing to watch out for crime-wise? Like what kind of crime, or do you have a good...
I would keep your cars locked, and when you're driving, definitely make sure you're aware of your surroundings.
Gotcha. Now, from your perspective, have you heard of crimes that are more prevalent in the Quad City versus not prevalent in the Quad Cities?
No, we watch Channel 6 News. We are advocates of following the news and following what's going on where we're going, and we travel all over. Every weekend we're somewhere else in other states, and no, I think the Quad Cities feels very safe.
When it comes to veterans, do you think it's a good place to live?
I think it's a very good place to live if you're a veteran. We have a really nice outpatient clinic here over in Davenport. And then we're close to Iowa City, the VA hospital, which is works with what's the big hospital there?
Iowa City.
University Hospital. That's very popular.
Yep.
And a lot of their physicians come over to the VA when, helping veterans.
Yeah, I've heard good things about the VA locally, because I know it's not the same all over.
Yeah.
Vets Outreach.
Then we have the Vets Outreach in Davenport, and it's not associated with the VA, but they do all kinds of things for the veterans.
Yeah.
And it is really an awesome place. It's in the old Buchanan School over on way north on Fairmont on north of Kimberly.
Okay.
And it's an awesome place to visit. You would be amazed when you go in there.
No, that's really awesome. And it's good for veterans to know that, because sometimes that question does come up. Yeah. So in your 20 years, would you say, like, I really wish people would come here, or do you think they should stay away because of the crime?
Yeah, it's really hard. I don't know. It's like I would love to say that I love my city, but sometimes it's really hard to say that. And I wouldn't like to lie to someone who's like thinking about moving here. Like, I have a friend that is just beginning an internship here, and she's stationed, like, she's living around St. Ambrose area. And I literally had to outline, I was like, do not walk past here by yourself. You are safe in this area. So that was really sad, a really sad reality of, like, I have to tell her, especially as women, we have to be careful of where we are going alone. I mean, there's always the good and the bad. There's always moments that I interact with people and I remember this is why I love the Quad Cities, but unfortunately if the bad isn't taken care of, it outweighs the good.
Absolutely. Do you think there is a big scale difference right now versus good and bad?
I just got back from college, so I've only really ever, I've heard things, but I haven't really seen things. I would say, at least in my perspective right now, everything feels a little bit calmer, but
Okay.
it's only the beginning of the summer, so I can't really say much.
Awesome. Well, anything else you'd like people to know?
Yes.
I've enjoyed living here. I spent 35 years working for a contractor at the Arsenal and really enjoyed that. It's a very nice area.
Yeah.
We're happy. I came from St. Louis. I like not the big city atmosphere here. So
Yeah,
yes.
big city, but small town.
Yeah.
It's the same.
Everything's very accessible.
That's awesome.
We've been married 47 years here in the Quad Cities.
Yeah.
And as you can probably tell, my southern accent.
Yeah.
And I came up here about 50 years ago, and sometimes I feel like that I just got stuck up here with all these Yankees.
Well, we appreciate that you stayed. That says a lot.
We get homesick, but we're here, and their roots are too deep.
Yeah.
So we enjoy it here.
That's awesome. Awesome. Now, we like to finish on a positive note.
Absolutely.
What do you think of the Quad Cities overall, as far as living here, playing here, coming to the farmer's market, all of that?
I think the Quad Cities as a whole is safe. I think if you want to be the safest, you move to Bettendorf, but there's certainly cities that are safer than others here.
Gotcha.
Yeah, my family and I have made so many good friends along the way, like local business owners and things like that. And like even the farmers market, it's one of my favorite things. I love to see people walking out and about with their dogs, with their kids, and it just gives me a little bit of hope for our community.
Absolutely.
Well, in my opinion, I came from a very small town.
Okay.
Moving here to the Quad Cities was an eye-opener for me. I mean, I loved it. I feel that we have got a lot of stuff to offer people. The Quad Cities definitely isn't Chicago,
Yeah.
but for people who want to be in a city that big, go visit Chicago. But right here, this I think is fantastic. I just love what the Quad Cities has to offer. One of the biggest things is our Mississippi River, where it runs in complete opposite directions, It draws people to come here to see us. And I enjoy it. I've enjoyed it since I've moved here.
Oh yeah, I came from a small town myself, so you come here, it feels like a big city, but then you live here a while, it still feels like a small town.
Absolutely.
Those people. all that.
Yep. You get that bigger city vibe without the overabundance of the Chicago hustle bustle.
Yes,
Yep.
absolutely. Well, any positive or negative things you want to finish out on?
No, this farmer's market is great and we love this area.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Most people here are super friendly. It's really a good city to live in. Working here is awesome. People are great. A lot of great breweries. Overall, it is a nice city to live. You just gotta watch your back a little bit.
Perfect. Now you've heard it all, from the crazy to the cool to everything in between. And if you're making the move, you really got to have somebody that understands the Quad Cities in Davenport. And my number is popping up down below. I'm a real estate agent here locally and know every nook and cranny. I'd love to help you out when making that move. But if you want to see what the Quad Cities in Davenport is about, well, check out this video right here.